new studio. My name is Tom Whalegum, and delighted to be joined by Kashif Saeed, who is the business manager of the BI Competency Center at Cardinal Health. Welcome.
Thank you.
You did a great session here on how Cardinal Health did their BI Competency Center. We were talking a little bit beforehand about why the company did. I think that's a very interesting thing because you've heard about these before, as you said, and yet they're not everywhere, but a lot of people have them. Why did Cardinal Health decide to go down this way?
Well, Cardinal Health is a big business objects implementation. We have 8,000 internal users, and we have 16,000 or a little bit over 16,000 external users. So 3 years ago, when I joined Cardinal Health, it was kind of like a departmentalized BI approach. We have 3 lines of businesses. Okay. Each line of business had their own business objects landscapes, and it was not just one landscape they had. We had a total of 14 business objects landscapes. So we had all versions from version 4 to XIR2 3 years ago. So we had version 5, 6, 6, 5, XIR2, and XIR1 as well. So one of the primary reasons why we wanted to introduce BICC was the license compliance thing. Mm-hmm. The other reasons were the enterprise visibility. So the departmental teams were doing things that nobody at enterprise knew why they were doing it, and how many licenses were they consuming. So visibility was the other thing. And the standards was another big thing. So I'll give you one example. In one of the line of businesses, there were 500 universes and only 1,100 reports. So the reports to universe ratio was only 2.
Wow.
Everything was rolled out using Desky. They were not using Webby. Mm-hmm. So one department was doing things their way, the other department was doing things their way. There was no central team which would have the visibility and or the standards for the enterprise. So based on these reasons, we started the BICC.
Right. Sounds like a great reason to start it. What were some of obviously senior management was bought into this, aware of the problem, and so now it was assigned to you and your team to start this. How did you know where to start? How did you know what to do?
At that time, I was a part of one of the line of business teams. Mm-hmm. And this line of business team that I was a part of happened to have more than development responsibility. So they happened to have the vendor and license management in addition to the development responsibilities. And I was hired as a business objects SME. So the management initially did not know about these issues. When I started noticing these issues, I started putting decks together. I started working with different VPs and directors to socialize the idea. So it did not happen overnight. Okay. It took about 6 to 8 months to socialize the ideas, and then finally I worked with enterprise architecture VP to get this happen.
What was your sell to them? What was the main message? Did you have like 2 or 3 things like we should stop doing this and we should do this and here's why? What was that in that message?
So the message was, I had specific examples that license compliance was an issue. Okay. I had specific examples on the standards or lack of standards, that different teams are doing different things their own way. Also, I presented 3 different options to them. So it was not just one option that this is how we will structure BICC. I presented 3 different options. So one option was the enterprise business objects team, which was taking it from this one extreme where we were to enterprise level. So having just one business objects team which would do the administration, architecture, sizing, as well as the development for all the line of businesses. The argument against that was not having departmental BI teams would mean that the client intimacy will be lost. So the other option that I presented was forget about a centralized team. Let's have like departmentalized BI. Each department will have their own BI team, and they will be responsible for managing their infrastructures, and they will also be responsible for managing their pieces of licenses. And the biggest issue with this approach was that still there would not be any team which will have enterprise visibility. So if medical is doing something and pharma doesn't know about it, or anybody else at EIT doesn't know about it, that was an issue. And the third approach was a hybrid approach. So the hybrid approach was the departmental teams will have development rights. So they will do the universe and report developments. And there would be a centralized team called BICC, which would be doing the administration, architecture, technical upgrades and stuff.
Okay.
So that was the option we went with.
I'm sure that was just like a snap of the finger, right? It just happened overnight, all easy, right? Everything's...
It wasn't that easy. I mean, again, Cardinal Health is a big company,
right.
and the more teams you interact with, the difficult making a decision is. As I said, it took about 5-6 months.
Yep.
It took a lot of socializations, and it's interesting if you socialize with the right people who are influential in the company,
sure.
They can take it to the next step. So that's exactly what happened.
Right. So I know you've had some great successes. Can you talk a little bit about what's come out of this and how the company has changed for the better for this?
Sure. So when we started with BICC, as I said, we had 14 different deployments of business objects. We had all versions from version 4 to XIR2. There were no development or security standards. So it has been about 15 or 16 months that we started BICC, and I was the only person at the time when we started BICC. Now I have a team of 4. So in these 15 months, we have brought it down from 14 deployments to 7 deployments. We have plans to move to 2 deployments by the end of June 2012. We already have funding for that project.
Yep.
We have standards for development and security. So especially around security, all of the deployments follow the same security models. When it comes to development, we have high-level standards. Definitely, I don't want to get into areas which the development teams will be handling.
Yep.
So we have standards. We are going to move to 2 deployments by the end of June, as I said. And then as next steps, we have plans to run business objects as a service.
Great. Where do you see 24 months from now? I mean, what will the BICC look like, and how do you hope it to be functioning in this new environment?
So 24 months from now, we will definitely be looking at 2 business objects environments,
yep.
Shared environments where all the line of businesses will be using those environments. I will also have some kind of a governance model as well as steering committee, because when you have 2 different teams or 3 different teams using one environment, there are always concerns that people bring to the table. So instead of waiting for the concerns to come up, we would be prepared for addressing those concerns ahead of the time. So a steering committee would definitely help in that. And then, as I said, running business objects as a service has always been on the radar for executives at Cardinal Health. Right now, we basically anybody who asks for access, we provide them the access. We never ask for a chargeback model or for charges that they have to pay to EIT. Right. So that is going to be implemented as well.
Do you have executive buy-in that this is on their radar, that this is an important project, and you've been able to show, because you had to go and sell them on it, and now have you been able to deliver, what you promised?
Right. So the funding for this project got approved in July. We have till next July to finish up this project. Consolidation to 2 deployments was never an easy decision. So I've been trying to sell this idea for 14 months now, and it required so much socialization. It required so much energy to counter-argument those things like, well, we paid for this,
right.
We don't want anybody else using it, right? So those are tough arguments to challenge. The strategy on this was putting the financial case, a very strong financial case, in place and on the table, and let people argue that why should we not do this instead of why should we do this.
Right.
So when I was submitting the project for this consolidation, The financial case was very strong. It was a $2 million saving for the consolidation. That got the project approved. So now it's time to deliver on it. I mean, the project work has not officially started. We are planning to start by the end of October, and we will have about 8-9 months to finish up. But I'm confident that we will finish up on
You've done a lot of work over the last couple of years, huh?
I have, but at end of the day, if you see these kind of things happening, it's very rewarding.
Great. Well, Kashif, thank you very much for coming by. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Up next, Courtney's back, and she's going to be talking about dashboarding and visualization. So come on back in about 15 minutes. Thanks very much. That's great.